morning. Guess who's here? Guess who's here? I have company. And that means I hope my Sherry Stay makeup's okay this morning. I hope the rain didn't wash it off, because my co-conspirator, Bill Siniard, is with me today. And kind of a Monday morning
surprise.
Y'all get to be with Bill today because I'm a hacking and a coughing, and I was up till 4 o'clock this morning, finally went to sleep, woke up at 5:58, and I'm like, you know what? But I've hacked and coughed and hacked and coughed.
The pollen's getting to you,
It is getting to me.
I love pollen.
Well, because you're working outside, do you not have allergies?
Not that I know of.
Because I never hear you all crudted up like I'm all crudted
The
up.
last couple of weeks I've been crudted up, but it was from a different reason. I got something that my wife got from somebody else.
Oh, no.
It just stayed with me for a while. So I'm actually on some antibiotics as we speak, but it's gotten a lot better. But it's not due to the pollen.
Was it just that respiratory thing everybody's getting?
It was, yeah. And I like pollen. I'll put it in my drink and stir it up and drink it.
Yeah, because you make a living on pollen.
Pollen means money to me. It smells good. It's like chicken manure to a chicken farmer.
That's right. That's right.
I had to come see you this morning because I was looking through this old book and I saw the recipe, lemon lush. And I thought of you, so lemon lush, lush.
You know, Mama Lucy did that recipe, and I really don't know why she called it lemon lush, but maybe, I don't know.
I thought of you. So.
You talk about past. This weekend went way back to the past, to a time Dawn had posted a picture of she and Angela in Cherokee, North Carolina, where we went in the summers, you know, once, twice a summer. And I thought about that, and then I do you know the story about me taking Angela's daddy to the Nantahala and putting him in there after he passed?
No.
Okay. Not that I shot him and threw him in there, although I could have. But Angela, when she passed away, I got her daddy's ashes because Victoria said, I don't know this man and I don't want his ashes. I said, okay. So the deal was, Angela was supposed to have taken him to the Nantahala. Well, she didn't. She didn't live to do that. So in honor of my daughter, I was going to get him a ride to the Nantahala. But actually, I was going to take him up to Murphy, where the Hiawassee runs into the Nantahala, because I had this idea. He never paid child support. He wasn't a good father. And why would I want to give him a ride to the Nantahala? So I got kind of mouthy about it. And somebody made me feel guilty and said, you know, that's the last thing you can do for her daughter is dispose of her father. And I thought, wish I'd have disposed of him a long time ago. But anyway, he was not a good guy. And can I just say he wasn't a Christian. But you would have died laughing on the ride up there. This man heard God Walks the Dark Hills and Amazing Grace over and over and over as he sat in the back seat of my car in the box where his cremains were.
You should have played that song, Step Into the Water, wade out a little bit deeper.
That would have been better.
More appropriate. So.
It would have been better, but I did what my daughter would have wanted me to do, and I took him there. And so I revisited that area this weekend, and I took a video of where I put him. He ain't there no more. He's gone. So it was one of those things. Yes, I loved my daughter, and she was a part of him. And I have to give him credit for this. He was a brilliant mind, but he had no common sense. He was a blithering idiot when it came to normal stuff. But he was like, he could engineer this whole building. He was a total engineer. And I guess engineers' brains are wired differently, because his was sure wired differently. But he grew up in a Southern Baptist church, and he was a Southern Baptist. He went to Germany in the military, and he came home not only an atheist, but a card-carrying Hitler worshiper.
Wow.
And if you think that's not weird to look as Jewish as I look and be married to something like that, it was weird. So I did my part. I took him to the Nantahala, unsealed him, and shook him in there. He's gone. He's gone to wherever the Lord wanted him to be.
Well, you couldn't sing that song either. Like a tree that's planted by the water, I shall not be moved.
That's right. But you know, y'all think about it. Gas was high, and I thought, well, I'll just take him to the Hiwassee, put him in the Hiwassee. I know that the Hiwassee runs into the Nantahala. Well, somebody made me feel ashamed, and so I took him all the way to the Nantahala, where he shall rest.
You know, working in the funeral business, I do work part-time in the funeral business.
Yes, you
sometimes,
do.
But I see a lot of cremation stuff, and the one thought that came to my mind is, okay, so you get cremated, and you're in this urn or whatever box, and you're sitting on the mantle at your house. Well, years go by, and you pass on. Does the descendants further down the line want that? Do they want to take care of?
I just answered that question.
Do they
want
to take care of that?
No.
And so you have to decide, when do you scatter the ashes, or when do you dispose of it?
Yep.
There's going to come a time where
somebody's got to do something.
Somebody's got to do something, because the other people ain't going to care or even know this person.
Know the person. That's what Tori said. But let me tell you what Victoria did with her mother. She took her mother to Alaska. Angela wanted to be put in the ocean. She was an ocean girl, but in Alaska, the ocean is minus 30. So she took her to Hawaii, to Diamond Head.
Yeah.
And that's what Angela
Beautiful
would have
place.
wanted. That's what Angela would have wanted. So I fulfilled her father's wishes, and I took him to the Nantahala.
Well, you did it because you loved her. So.
I did it because I love her, and I loved the idea that I got one more gouge at that sucker who never paid any child support.
Well, you know, I got some friends that their son had died, and so everywhere they go on vacation, they take a little bit of him and spread it around. So they told me the other day in a wonderful, loving kind of manner that he's just all over the place.
I love that. Well, that is, and you do what makes you okay with it. You know, it's whatever makes you okay. I have had, you know, I had some hard feelings toward him because he was court ordered to pay $20 a week child support, and never bought the first diaper, never bought anything, didn't come see her, and later in life, she looked for him. And this is a lesson for all parents who try to keep the kid away from the other parent. I told him he could come and see her, but he had to pay child support. Well, he never paid child support, and he never came to see her. And it hurt her.
Sure
So
did.
later in life, she did everything in her power to spend time with her father.
Yeah.
They did spend time together, but there was never that relationship that there should have been, because a father's love is the greatest love for a daughter.
I thank God every day that I didn't have to go through that. I really do, because I don't know how I would have felt.
Right.
You know.
And parents don't understand, you may not love that person anymore that you made that child with, but that child has two parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I took her to his parents all the time because I adored his parents, and they were my in-laws till the day they died, even though they weren't my in-laws for years afterwards, but they were my in-laws because they were good Christian people that I adored. And I would take her to see them, and I would say, you can tell Ronnie he can come and see her. But he didn't. Because child support was part of the deal. You know, if you paid a little child, $20 a week, and he wouldn't do it. So if you think I'm a mean old hag because I didn't want to take his ashes all the way to the Nantahala, I took him. So I took him. He's there now. He's gone. He's gone to glory. So, and you know, I wonder, as I say that, at the end of his life, he died suddenly of a massive heart attack. I wonder, in that instant when he was leaving this world, did he remember that he had given his heart to God years ago, or where did he go?
That's between him and the Lord.
That's between him and the Lord.
Can't nobody answer that.
Yeah. And I think about it because, you know, Angela was saved and she was a good girl and she's good. But her daddy, she might not see him again. I don't know.
That's like me and you. I could say that about you, or you could say it about me, but that's between us and the Lord.
That's right.
It really is.
That's it.
That's the beauty of it.
Well, today, us and the Lord are going to be praying for Hans Rueffert. I hope that Hans gets to call us today. He is at MD Anderson in Houston, Texas. It is a tough day. The news has not been what we had hoped for. He was bleeding bad this weekend, really bad, and he's very weak, and he needs your prayers. And along with your prayers, he needs a little bit of help funding. So one of our friends in Ball Ground, Jim Colossus, set up a GoFundMe page, and I shared it on my Facebook page. If you're like me and you don't know how to do GoFundMe, if you write a check, if you bring cash, I'll meet you anywhere. I'll do whatever I can to help our friend Hans out, because since December he has had no income, because he makes income traveling and talking to people and doing, he was doing consulting for a business in Jasper. And they stopped paying him in December because basically he's fighting for his life. And I don't know about y'all, but me, if somebody who had been working for me for years was fighting for his life and I was paying him a consulting fee, you can bet your bippy he would get it until the day he left this world. I would not stop because he's of no value to me now, you know, because that's kind of the words that were used. Well, you're not producing anything for us now. Okay, but he produced goodwill for your business for years, and he did things for you for years, and now he's fighting for his life. So as a good person, you step up and you help him. Is that kind of how normal people think?
Yeah,
am I thinking normally?
Normal, normal.
Yeah. So anyway.
Whatever normal is.
So there's my preaching for today. There's my preaching, and we hope Hans does call in. We've got a bunch of pictures we want to show y'all, and I can tell y'all, I got my trip to the mountains this weekend was in a 1995 Ford Chateau van. Now, you could call it an old lady van, an old man van, an old van, whatever, but it looks brand new. It's
shag carpet?
No, that'd be a good idea.
Bright green shag carpet?
95. It only has 81,000 miles on it, and the couple who had it, you talk about meticulous and caretaking, it looks brand new. But it had, the reason that it was really desirable, and this is me getting in it, y'all. I'm so short and dumpy now. I was short and dumpy when I first met y'all 20 years ago. I'm getting shorter and dumpier now. And I have to get in this with a stool because I have a bad knee.
Lord help.
It's hysterical because I'm like Grandma Moses crawling in the van, but that's what it takes to get there. And this 351 Windsor engine got 20 miles to the gallon. My Suburban only gets 16 miles to the gallon.
That's amazing.
So how does that happen, that a full loaded van with a bunch of old people in it can get 20 miles to the gallon in the mountains? I don't know how that works.
And
so Ford...
He paid how much for that?
I better not disclose, but it's right at $12,000. $12,000.
Give or take 12.
Yeah. And it's crazy because it is like brand new, and it's so funny because I saw things. Have you ever noticed when you sit up high in a vehicle? You see stuff you've never noticed. And even crossing the bridges and seeing the rivers, I was like, okay, I can see all this stuff. So anyway, it was one of those things. Okay, gonna go to some places I hadn't been in a long time, wanted to see some stuff, and down memory lane, and I was like, this is weird. Now there's a place, you might have stayed there. It's an old motel in Cherokee, North Carolina. And it has a gun on the sign. I love old signs.
If I did, I was probably 10
years old.
10 years old.
Yeah.
My dad used to take us up there when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I was trying to take pictures of all the old signs that are still there. A lot of the old motels and hotels have closed because obviously the casino has taken over. But it was so funny because as we were riding, I'm taking pictures of all these signs, and there's some really cool signs that are still in mint condition. Now the hotel or the motel was sitting there dilapidated and the paint faded and the roof caving in, but the signs looked really cool. Have you ever seen the movie Dig into China?
No.
Okay, with Kevin Bacon, it was filmed in this area, and so I got the wigwams that were in the movie, and it's one of those movies you watch it one time and then you think, did that really happen there? I'll watch it again. So it's one of those watch it again movies. There's where Angela's daddy went flying down the river. So I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not making fun of it, but honestly, it takes a good woman to take her ex-husband who never paid child support and put him where he needs to be. So
Needs to be.
Yeah, wants to be.
Wants to be,
Wants to
yeah.
be. Wants to be. So
They still do the Unto These Hills.
yes,
play
they
up
do,
there?
but they have changed it to Woke It Out, so I don't go to it
okay,
anymore.
okay.
Don't woke me out because you're gonna lose my attention
I
if you
imagine
take.
they've lost a lot of folks.
Yeah, a lot of people have been writing bad reviews about it, and I hope that they go back because I saw it in the 70s.
Yeah, I did. It's probably early 70s.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
A wonderful, wonderful experience, except that you leave there hating the white man because it was pretty nasty what our president did to them.
Well,
So
they had a rough time.
it was American History 101, things you don't want to do. Now this is right in downtown Cherokee, and I got to give credit to Cherokee. I'd been reading on the news that Cherokee was not doing well and that not many of the stores were open. Lots of the stores were open, and I can tell you the Dairy Queen in Cherokee, North Carolina gets an A+. They did a great job with the food, the service, and the parking, and it was just a good experience. So everybody knows I love DQ. I love our local DQs, but now I love the DQ at Cherokee, North Carolina. It was just a nice ride up there, but the hardest thing for me to ever imagine was going back to Inspiration Park because weekend after weekend after weekend I'd drive the old Witter women and we'd go to Cherokee and we'd go to Bryson City and we would go to Inspiration Park. Inspiration Park is not Inspiration Park anymore. Now this is where the movie Digging to China was made. That's the setting. And people still go there. This is between Cherokee and Whittier. You know who lives in Whittier, North Carolina?
No.
Archie Watkins.
Oh, Archie does. Okay.
Archie Watkins, yeah. And so it's really cool to see the movie scenes. And this is a daycation. It was just up there and back. Had some things that I wanted to do along the way and some things I wanted to do along the way back. Got all that done. And it was an experience. But the greatest thing I got to do was revisit. Remember our sweet Miss Hazel Mosley?
Mm-hmm.
Miss Hazel Mosley, years and years ago, told me about Clyde's Restaurant in Waynesville, North Carolina. Got to go all the way to Clyde's Restaurant and get food, and better than the food, I got a coconut cream pie. The whole pie. Now, I've only eaten one piece of it, but bought the whole pie because Miss Hazel said, you can't come to Clyde's and not have the pie.
That's a beautiful little town.
It is so pretty, and you know, I didn't see any damaged areas around Waynesville, even though Ellijay, 60 miles from there, was really torn up. So it was very strange how the storm hit some spots and destroyed it. But I was looking for the fires, and you can see in the background, all the background was real smoky. There were over 200 firefighters, volunteer firefighters and paid for firefighters up there fighting the fires. There it is. There's where you stayed, Colton Court. See that gun?
Looks familiar.
Yeah.
I went there
Have you
too.
been to Santa's Land?
I have.
Yes.
I was probably 10 years old.
Yeah. But it looks nice.
Yeah.
They've kept it up.
They've redone that.
Oh, it's beautiful.
You know, they do call it the Smoky Mountains.
Yes, they do. You're right. But it was really smoky this weekend. So to every firefighter out there fighting, and to the volunteers who are feeding them, it was so nice to see that volunteers are setting up. It looks like those trailers that the Franklin Graham Association uses, you know.
Samaritan's Purse.
Yeah, and they were feeding them and volunteering. And this is, have you been to this village, the Cherokee Village?
I have.
Yeah, it was packed this weekend. So it was a good thing to see people out, people spending money, people going to local places, because this is 2.5 hours away maybe?
At least.
Yeah.
2 hours, 2.5.
It was a 335-mile trip, and the old 1995 van with the 351 Windsor got 20 miles to, how could it get 20 miles a gallon and my Chevrolet get 16?
Especially driving in those hills.
Oh yeah, in the hills, and then hauling all this weight. I gave him a wide opening to say it, and he didn't.
Well, I don't mind talking about your Sherry Stay makeup, but I am not talking about a woman's weight. That's a good way to get killed.
I saw a sign one time and it said, I wish my sign on my refrigerator weighed what my sign on my refrigerator says I weighed. And I'm like, yeah, right. But you know, there's my DQ. Nice folks, nice place, good parking, right in downtown Cherokee. So yeah, it was a good day, and had some things to take care of, had some things wanted to accomplish. And there was not one clear shot. It was hazy and kind of yucky everywhere we went. But
they've had a rough time up there in that part of the country with all the hurricane and then fires.
Yeah. It's sad. So, Rabun County has now had 2,500 acres burn.
Yeah, it's been rough up there too.
It's been awful.
I saw a wildfire in Pickens County last week.
Oh yes, I saw that too on Burt Mountain.
There's been a couple of them.
Yeah. So be careful. There's no throwing cigarettes out. There's no letting your camper. There's where we put the cremains. Isn't that? Yeah. God walks the dark hills. Boy, did he walk the dark hills. So I took care of business.
Well, he got baptized.
Yeah, that's right. He was baptized over and over and over.
Just never came up.
Now, have you ever seen the movie Murder in Coweta County with Johnny Cash and Andy
Griffith?
Griffith?
Years ago. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Remember how they solved it? Okay.
No.
And they found the cremation. They found little bitty ashes in a little puddle by the river. That's how they solved that murder. They could find his DNA, the man that was murdered, from those ashes. So what does that tell you about leaving here? Boy, they can tell a lot of stuff from DNA.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff. That place has been closed as long as I can remember, but the sign's still up. I thought it was a cool sign. So,
do you have DNA?
I have DNA. My DNA is really weird. I'll just say it before you do. So. It's really weird. I have a mixture. I got some French, some German, some Ashkenazi, something. I've got all kinds of weird stuff in there. But weird. My grandmother was from France. My daddy's grandmother was from France. And I think that's where the puddles started.
That's why you got the name Cherie.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Mon Cherie.
That's right. That's what my mama said. And my granny called me Cherie all her life because she just couldn't get it right. And there's Santaland again. And it's really cool.
They didn't have that when I went there.
Well, they have fixed it up. Really, it looks good.
We used to go up to Maggie Valley to Ghost Town a lot too.
Yes,
so that was a lot of fun. We had good times up there.
Yep. Now you went somewhere that you had some really good times. Hiawassee, Georgia Mountain Fair.
Went to Hiawassee about 2 weeks ago and saw the rock and roll group ZZ Top. It was a packed house.
Would y'all think the lead singer of a gospel group, he loves rock and roll?
These gospel guys will fool you. They like different kinds of music, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Just don't include me in any rap music.
No.
I can't do that, but yeah. And I'm not a country, well, I can listen to a little bit and a little bit of bluegrass too, but I'm a 60s and 70s rock and roll guy, 80s too. So.
Well, did you liked the Temptations, so you liked Motown too?
Love the Temptations.
Yeah.
I saw them in Pigeon Forge years ago at the Country Tonight Theater. I was
so
sitting
awesome.
from here to there, just right up close and personal. It was awesome.
Well, last night I was going through old DVDs because I've told y'all, when we leave here, this will go to YouTube. But on top of that, all the old programs are getting loaded to YouTube. That means I have a program of you and Kaylee, and I think, was your daughter Ansley with us that day?
Maybe so.
It was like old home week for you, and I found that, and it's like 18 years old, you know.
And we did the singing at Turniptown Creek up there. Ansley was with us there.
Yeah.
Jordan was too, but yeah. I've been seeing some of the old shows on YouTube lately.
Yeah, I just said, let's put them out there because in reality, people are dying every day. And to all the patients, Dr. Bond went to be with Jesus this weekend. So many people in Gilmer County are affected by that. So many people, every single day we get news that somebody we knew and loved passed away.
Yeah, that's the way it goes in life.
That's the way it goes. So my gift to each of you, before I leave here, I'm going to load YouTube up. Tracy's working like he's like the little Energizer bunny, getting all these on YouTube for y'all because a lot of y'all were with us for many years. And I found one today that was Brenda and Ronnie Evans. And you know, Ronnie passed away way too young. And it had Vicki and Jesse Thompson on it, and it had Miss Farrell Starnes, who just went to be with Jesus. So I keep finding all these programs, and I think it's my duty to leave it to y'all. I'm leaving y'all a legacy of you in television because...
Yeah, a lot of the local folks have been on your show.
Oh, yeah.
It's just mind-boggling to think of all those. When I go back and look at some of the old shows. I remember that. And I remember
Yeah.
that person. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
almost forgot about him because
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him in so long.
Yeah, yeah. Well, today there's a person that we can't forget because y'all love Mr. Ellijay. And so before we go to a commercial, we're going to do a little bit of a compilation that I think Tim put this together. We'll do probably 6 minutes of it, but it's going to show you his crazy antics and a little bit of his music because I know y'all are missing him. But he's going to be back soon. He's bringing the Claytons and he's bringing their music. He just produced an album with them. They wrote the songs. It's original music. These are local, homegrown talent, and y'all know them. You have them they're in your churches all the time, and you're going to get to see them live here on ETC before long. So we're going to go now to a little bit of music and a little bit of antics from that crazy man, Mr. Ellijay.
I feel good. I got my best jeans on. I feel fine. I'll call my baby on the phone. We're going down to Jamie's and watch them shoot a game of 9. Jackie Dunn will be there in his ragtop 59. My grill is clean. I've got an 8-track in the dash of my machine. And I know every single line. Yeah, Susie's got her dress on, hanging high above her knees. And when she smiles for the Nikon, you know it's such a sight to see. It's Friday night in the southern city lights. Wheels will turn and the rubber's gonna burn. The glass packs are racking, the power play is screaming loud. We'll cruise the red dot parking lot and see who all is in the crowd. 'Cause I feel good, I got my best jeans on, it's all fine. I'll call my baby on the phone. We're going down to Jamie's and watch them shoot a game of 9. Jackie Dunn will be there, and you better not step out of line. Many years ago, in days of childhood, I used to play till the evening sun would come. Then wandering down an old familiar pathway, I could hear my mother call that set of sun. Come home, come home, it's supper time. The shadows lengthen fast. Come home, it's supper time. We're going home at last. Come home,
Some of my fondest memories of my childhood were woven around supper time. And Mom, I remember how you used to call from the steps of our old home place. You'd always say, "Come home, son, it's supper time." What I'd give to hear that just one more time. But you know, time has woven a realization of truth that's even more thrilling. And that's when we hear that call from the portals of glory to come home for supper time. When all of God's children gather around the table with the Lord Himself, and we celebrate the greatest supper time of all. Come home, it's supper time. The shadows lengthen fast. Come home, it's supper time. We're going home at last.
I know. Okay, y'all, good morning. I have got Hans Rueffert on the phone with me, and I want y'all to be able to talk to him. I want y'all to be praying for him. And Hans, can you kind of give us an update on how the day's going?
Well, it started off with no breakfast. That's never a good thing, right? But you're the one who taught me that if we ain't eating, we ain't meeting.
That's
I feel
right.
like this day needs to start with at least a cup of tea or something. But anyway, we're, a long night. I'm still bringing up blood, although not to be gross, but it's nothing like what it was, just a few days ago. So we've got it down to like when you leave your faucet overnight during a hard freeze. That's kind of how I imagine it. We got the slow drip happening.
Wow.
So, and it kind of collects, and every couple hours, it comes up. So we know we still have an active leak. And so this morning we're waiting on interventional radiology, which is the department that, where they go in through your artery, either the femoral artery or the carotid artery. Some people have that procedure done for like heart valves or stents. Mm-hmm. So it's that same kind of a procedure, but they're going to go through the heart and then through the heart to the lung. And then once they're inside the lung, then they're looking for these leaks, essentially. The lung is degrading, and so it's slowly, kind of falling apart like crumbly old drywall. It's just kind of falling apart. And so they have found a pocket of active infection, and what they're trying to do, it's too dangerous to go in and do a surgery. And so many people have suggested, why don't they just remove the lung? And if I was a healthy person, I could do that. But the tissue is so crumbling that if they try to go in there and remove it, there's a very real chance that I would bleed out because it's so damaged in there. So they're trying to do this very hyper-targeted, hyper-specific technique where they're going to essentially wall off that area of infection. They're between cauterization and embolization. They're trying to sort of create this pocket where the infection can't feed. It can't get blood. It can't get air. They're trying to just sort of let it starve itself out. Mm-hmm. And then, this is the fourth or I guess it's the fifth embolization I've had now. So it's not that the prior ones have been unsuccessful. Each time they've been successful, but it's just a multi-step kind of thing. And there's no guarantee that this is going to be the final one either, right? This could be step one of many more. Obviously, it's logistically a hard thing to get to and from Texas, but there is no better place for what's going on here. And even my team back at Piedmont, it's not that they don't want to help me. They just realize the limitations of what they can do.
Right. And truly, you have a doctor who was your first doctor at MD Anderson 20 years ago.
Listen, so the first two doctors that started, the guy that started my belly and my stomach, his name is Dr. Peter Pisters. He is now the president of MD Anderson. So
wow.
He is you cannot get any higher than Peter Pisters. And then the second surgeon, Dr. Hofstetter, who you've heard me say his name a million times, when they found the cancer in my esophagus 20 years ago, Dr. Pisters tag teamed over to Dr. Hofstetter, and he's been my doctor ever since. And so for over 2 dozen surgeries, he's been my guy. And even when I've had to have emergency surgeries back home, he's been on the phone with the people. With Dr. Lopez in Jasper, he's been on the phone with him a dozen times. So he is fully invested in. He's a fantastic doctor anyway. But now that we're coming up on 20 years, I'm kind of like his pet project. And so it's not just about checking a box that, hey, this patient was successful. He is personally, emotionally invested.
Well, and truly, these doctors, as your team, have made medical history, because
for sure.
you have been their project that they did not expect to see you here.
Well, and the other thing too, Sherry, is they've learned what not to do, which is sometimes as important. I jokingly say, they call it practicing medicine, but
Right.
the reality is the protocol has changed from 20 years ago because of cases like mine, where, it's every little foothold, every little bit of advantage you can get is worth hanging on to. So I've had people say, well, does it make you bitter that if you were diagnosed today, you wouldn't have to go through all the things that you went through? Never even crossed my mind to make me bitter. If anything, it makes me proud that they have learned for the next generation, the people that have to go through this, they have a much better, clearer picture of how to tackle it. So all of my issues that I'm dealing with today all stem from the radiation and chemotherapy damage that I had 20 years ago. And it's not that they did anything wrong. That was just the best that they had 20 years ago. And you knew my grandmother. Back in the 80s, they would give you cobalt treatments, which by today's standards are barbaric.
Yeah.
But at the time, that was the best they had. So, like, being bitter that, somebody couldn't treat it with something better, they threw at it all they had to throw at it back then. And now my body's just having to pay that bill. You know what I mean?
Right.
Again, if people are like, well, did something go wrong? It's not that something went wrong. I got 20 extra years that nobody expected that I was going to get. Now, I'm not signing off or saying that I'm done. I'm not done.
Yeah.
But I have to look at it through that lens, because if I look at it through the poor little old me lens, this stuff gets heavy and depressing pretty quick. So
Absolutely.
I only know one direction, and that's forward. And even if I'm falling, I'm going to make sure I'm falling forward.
That's right. Well, today we were talking about the things that have happened to you, and you keep smiling, you keep joking, and I told you yesterday, I said, if you're laying down to go on the operating table and you need something to laugh about thinking about me laying on the bed trying to get on pantyhose to dress up to go to the funeral home. And you will not leave this world, because you would not want that sight for anybody to see. But I ask our audience, what can they do to help you besides prayer? We need some funding. We need a little help. We need a little financial help. So I did.
Sherry,
I posted your GoFundMe. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Usually I'm the guy raising money for other people, like,
Right.
the pickleball tournaments that I do and all the work that I do with the Gastric Cancer Foundation and the GI Cancers Alliance. So I feel so weird being on the receiving end of it, but at the same time, the logistics of the expense of this is just ridiculous. And we could have a whole conversation about what insurance should or shouldn't cover, but the reality is it's just it's a big burden. So
Sure.
Now, having said that, I made sure that I took all of my, like on my Patreon, it used to be that you had to be a member to read my updates. I took all that off. If somebody is not in a position where they can help out, with $5 a month or whatever, that is totally fine too. I want people to be a part of the story. I want people to, even if literally all they can do is thoughts and prayers, I totally understand that, because that's the position I'm in right now too.
Right. Right.
So everybody's juggling things that we're juggling knives that we wish we didn't have to juggle. And sometimes if we stop juggling them, they're going to land on us. So I don't want anybody to feel bad that, I'm not in a position or whatever. And the fundraising thing makes me uncomfortable, because I'm just not used to being on the receiving end of it. But
well, when Jim asked me about doing it, I said, hey, you got to talk to Hans about this, because I said he has always been the person doing something for somebody else, so we better talk to him first. And you told Jim it would be okay to set this up. So there is a GoFundMe. And some people had reached out to me and said, we don't do that kind of thing because we don't understand technology. Can we do something else? Can we bring you a check? Can we bring you cash? And I said, hey, I will hunt you down if you have cash and want to help. Yes, help in any way you can. If it's $5, $10, if it's $2, I don't care. Tell me what to do and how we can help. So today you're basically on a waiting list to see how the day goes?
I mean, so the embolization, I'm told, is going to happen today. It's just that, because I'm now inpatient, meaning I'm in the hospital, they don't have to schedule it quite as precise as they would if I were coming from the outside, right, where they have to have, a very specific time. And not only that, Dr. Hostetter is wanting very specific a team to do this. And so he said, I'd rather us not know an exact start time and be able to cherry pick the team than to cherry pick the time and not know the team. Right. So I got nothing planned. I'm sitting here, like I said, I wouldn't have some breakfast, but that's, I don't feel hunger anymore anyway, so I can, I only feel like I want food when I can't have it.
Right, right.
So that's fine. I'm just trying to.
Let me ask you something. Has anybody ever talked to you about your life from 4 years old until today would be the most amazing true movie in history? Because your dad, we could tell your dad's story, how he ate grass as he escaped from Germany, as he, your story is not like anybody else's. And I would love to see your story produced by a great producer, maybe even in Christian television, because prayers have gotten you where you are, young man.
Well, no one has ever approached about any of that, but honestly, I think my dad's story is bedrock to my story, in that, he had no idea how to quit ever. I mean, and had to teach himself to be a plumber, everything to keep that business going.
Sure.
But also, what his family survived, as a young child in World War II, his three brothers and himself. And so I think there is a tenacity that I inherited or was taught or observed, which I will be honest, and firsthand, could be annoying as it could possibly be as well.
Yeah.
But that kind of stubbornness when you're in the trenches is exactly what you need.
Yeah.
I will say though that the flip side of that coin is I have no idea how to relax. Like I have no idea how to just be able to have a moment where I can be calm and
right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm always thinking that this is time that I'm possibly wasting, and it's time I might not get back. So I have this sense of urgency that sometimes I wish I could put on pause. And I'm also not good with, I sound like this is my counseling session. I'll pull up a chair here. But I'm also not good with emotional things, right? Because we always had to push forward, you push forward, well, there's time to cry later. Yeah. So there are times where, and I mentioned it in my most recent post, when all the logistics of flying out here while I'm actively bleeding and trying to hide the fact that I'm bleeding on the plane so the lady next to me doesn't know that I'm coughing up a lung, so the stress and drama of getting out here, by the time I got here and got to the 7th floor where I've been coming for 20 years, I got hit with a 2x4 of emotions that I was not expecting. Some of the worst days of my life had been on this very floor and this very wing of this hospital, but at the same time, this place has saved my life more than 3 times. And so there's this tornado of emotions that hits you when you come into a place like this. But the main emotion being hope. I mean, there's this overwhelming optimism here, and you are walking in a place where you see people literally being held together by sutures and stitches and staples, and they're smiling and they're laughing and they're enjoying their family and they're and not in spite of what they're going through, but because they're having a moment that they can have a quiet moment with their family, and they're in a place where they make miracles happen daily. Now, not everybody's story ends in an obituary. I mean, let's be clear about that. But they have been able to extract way more miles out of this 1972 Volkswagen than anybody else would have been able to.
Right. Absolutely. Well, again, please keep in touch. I know you saw what happened to me yesterday. I was great as long as I was talking to you. The minute I got off the phone, I fell apart. And I cried like a baby, but I cried because I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful for the 20 years you had. Heidi is here.
Oh, yeah.
You got to see your children grow up. So if today is the last day, whatever, if tomorrow is the last day, if 14 years from now is the last day, you got to live a dream that, honestly, your surgeons 20 years ago, they didn't have the dream. They thought you would go in and you were 1% success rate.
Back when we did the cookbook, the Eat Like There's No Tomorrow, that was, some people thought that was a morbid sentiment. I don't see it that way at all. I really try to, and it's Pollyanna, because we all have days that are better than others and some that are just pure crap.
Yeah.
But, if at the end of the day you can think, if today I'm checking out, because none of us know when we're checking out, I'm okay with that. I don't want to. I'm not, whatever. But I mean, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of that, I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love you. I love you. Our viewers love you. We all love you. And I look over at the desk across from us where you sat doing your little news gig for, what was it, 8 minutes when it first started?
It felt like an eternity. Oh my God! But yes, it was 8 minutes that we moved 3 times. Right? Because we couldn't even find enough content to talk 24 minutes.
So crazy.
Yeah.
You've created a monster, because now 20 years later I'm still doing it. So.
Now they can't get us to stop talking. That's the other problem.
That's right. Well, we love you. We are praying for you, and we hope to raise some money for you. And hope to make this journey a little easier for you. So,
well, we really appreciate everybody's love and support. And again, I have been incredibly transparent and open since the beginning, and I don't want to change that. I mean, there will be sometimes people will call and say, well, what's the real story? My real story is out there. I don't have time to keep a secret from whatever, right? I mean, so the reason that I set up sort of the second thing on Patreon was because not everybody wants to see pictures of blood and surgery on Facebook. So I have set up a second thing, but again, it's free if anybody wants to follow that. And if you're squeamish and you don't want to follow it, that's fine too.
Yeah, yeah.
But thank you everybody for staying with me on this ride. It has been quite the roller coaster, but I'm going to get back in line for another ride.
That's right. That's right. 60 miles an hour and not slamming on the brakes. There you go.
Yeah, with a seatbelt that's barely hanging on. But,
that's
the
right.
The way that you used to fly over the bridge in your Chevelle.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh my gosh, yeah. I can hear that Chevelle hitting that wood bridge and running in there, and they say, you're almost late. And I said, yeah, but I'm not late.
Exactly.
Have a good.
I'm almost dead, but I'm not dead.
Yeah, have a good day, sunshine. We love you dearly and praying for you intensely. Have a good day. All right.
I'll post when I'm conscious again. I'll post something.
Okay, thank you so much. All righty. Bye-bye. 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 Wow. I'm so glad he was able to call in. I'm so glad. I hope y'all got to hear all that, and I hope you understand that your prayers have probably gotten him some years.
It's a tough road to hoe.
It's a tough road to hoe.
For anybody.
Can you imagine? But honestly, he has a daughter who, had he not had the miracle team in MD Anderson, Heidi wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So,
I've got an uncle that lives in Cartersville. He's been going to MD Anderson. Hans has probably met him. I'm not sure, but he's been going there for the same reasons and for almost the same amount of time, 20 years, yeah.
Wow.
And they swear by that hospital.
Yeah, yeah. And he said, literally, it's the hospital itself is as big as like from here at Progress Road to downtown Ellijay.
Yeah, I've been by that hospital.
Yeah.
It's large,
Yeah.
very large. A lot of stories high. So.
And he said it's just like, it's a maze, but once you learn, and he was, yesterday when we were talking, he said, they made it so easy for me to get in, and because he can barely walk to get to the parking deck and to everything. But he just said, I have a team that is encouraging and making him realize that, we're going to take care of you. Absolutely do everything they can. And, I think about 22 years ago when my husband had cancer, they used radiation on him, which was really tough. And I can remember leaving the hospital, and you talk about something that was disgusting, as he got sick, it was horrible.
Yeah.
That radiation does a number on your body. And Hans' body has been, it's like going to the Dairy Queen and getting the flame grilled every time, because his innards were grilled. So yeah, it's not been a pretty picture, but he's not giving up. So
those folks who go to MD Anderson, they've got some of the worst of it, because that's the hospital you go to when you really got to have some help. It's not like going to your local little hospital.
Selena tried MD Anderson and they told her it was too late. JS tried MD Anderson, they said it was too late. We tried Vanderbilt, we tried Sloan Kettering, we tried every hospital possible, because every time somebody would turn us down, he would say, but I don't want to leave you. I don't want to leave you. And I said, it's not up to us. It's not up to us. And he couldn't, he was a man who took care of his family, who worked every day, and he couldn't accept that he was going to be gone. And the doctors know. They know.
Those are tough decisions to
They're
make
very tough.
amongst
Yeah.
a couple. It's got to be.
Yeah, and when Dr. York sat down on the side of his bed and he said, Mr. Martin, it's time to get your affairs in order, go home and spend your last days with your family. Those are not words even a doctor wants to say.
No.
Because that's like the doctor saying, I've done everything I possibly can. And he did say, and it's in God's hands.
And you know, you've seen this, I have too. I've seen people that's had that news given to them, and somehow or another the Lord healed them. It's incredible.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's incredible.
So that's why I say, if you're praying today, if you're praying, pray all day long, because we don't know what his day is going to be like. And we don't know if that's our last phone call. We don't know if that's his last conversation. We don't know. But yesterday, I think the reason I really fell apart when he said he'd lost about a quart of blood. And I remembered my grandmother lost a pint of blood when she had a bleeding ulcer. And you talk about looking at somebody that looked dead. My grandmother had zero color, just losing a pint of blood. And I was like, he's lost a quart of blood. And you just think about that. And your body, you know, your body has to be strong to fight that. And his body's not strong, but your prayers can make him stronger.
Yeah, I see Hans from time to time. He lives next door to a place that we service, and I'll see him out in the yard and wave at him. And he's lost a lot of weight.
He's lost a lot of weight.
A lot of weight.
He's lost a lot of weight, yeah. And there's nothing he can do because, you know, you all know the story. He's a chef with no stomach, doing all the cooking shows he does. And he can't even sample the food because it doesn't have anywhere to go. And that's, you know, yeah, I could get bitter if I could
The way I like to eat, that would discourage me.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of eating, let's change a little lighter hearted
Yeah,
here. I
yeah.
see a recipe in this book. Crepes? Who's making crepes? Right there.
Yeah, it's crepes. It's crepes.
Oh, crepes. Oh, okay.
It's crepes.
What the
And
heck
you
is
know,
a crepe?
talking about the Woodbridge Inn, Joe Rueffert was not the first owner I worked for there. I
just
worked for
joking.
3 others, and one was a French chef whose wife thought that
Chef
she
Boyardee?
was, yeah, he might as well have been. But anyway, he would do crepes. And to me, all crepes do is make you hungry.
The appetizer?
Yeah. It's a thin little old something that you could call a pancake, and he rolls stuff up in it, and they were really good, but they weren't very filling. So, but it was funny because we went through every kind of food possible, Czechoslovakian to Joe Rueffert, the German. Joe Rueffert, the German, is the one that stuck. They stuck, and there were Saturday nights that we would be counting our tips, and we split the tips. We did a pool. And I would go home feeling guilty that I had made as much as I made, knowing that Joe and Brenda were struggling to pay for the place. Because, you know, if you look at how many people came in, the tips, we got our tips, but then they were barely making food costs. They were barely paying the utilities. There were days that it was lean and mean, but he stuck it out. He didn't give up.
I remember the day he was on the show here, and it's right over there, and he was cooking the bananas Foster.
Yes.
And I ate a lot of that.
Yes.
Very
It's
good.
so good.
Very good.
It's so good. So I'm glad y'all got to, we got that visit from Hans. That was awesome to get to do that. And we just got to pray that we see him again soon. And I just can't imagine losing the kind of blood he's lost. How? Because, you know, if your sugar drops a little bit, you feel that weak little queasiness.
And dizzy.
Yeah. So imagine facing what he's facing. So.
No, I can't imagine that.
No. Now you are about to move to the country. Are you
Well,
going to really be
I
a
already
country
live
boy?
in the country. I
Yeah,
mean,
but you're going to really move to the country.
Well, we're working toward that goal.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I've lived in the country
Way
before.
out there, y'all.
You remember when I lived up on the mountain? That's
Yeah,
you can't
that
get
was
much
country.
more country than
That's
that
good.
now.
But you're moving now where they pump in sunlight.
Well, it's up on a ridge, so there's plenty of sunlight.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you know. No, it's on the west end of Pickens County. We
It
bought
is.
some property there.
It's out
and-
about Ludville. Is that about Ludwell?
I just built a house 4 years ago, now I'm getting ready to build another one. So.
That's right. He's bored, y'all.
can't
He's
help
just
it.
bored. He's got him a saw and he's just bored.
I enjoy building things.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should have been a builder, and I'm not, but
Yeah,
I enjoy
yeah,
doing it.
yeah. Well, it is so cool to see you take an idea and you created your own house plan last time and you just built it
Yeah,
and did it.
and we enjoy it. We really
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
My wife is tired of stairs, though, so the home we're in now has stairs, and she just wants a one-level house. And
I'm with her.
I understand it. They don't
I'm
bother
with
me,
her.
but they bother her.
Yep.
And I need to get her a one-level house.
I have this sister-in-law that used to say, steps are your friends. And I said, shut your mouth.
Well, it's good cardio, if nothing else.
It's great cardio. Yeah, my Fitbit will say, 2 stair steps, 2 stair steps.
You
And
don't
I'm
need
like,
a
shut
Fitbit.
up.
I mean, all you got to do is walk, and when you get tired, you know you've walked a lot.
That's right.
Common sense.
That's right. That's right. You know, it's funny because when we did the trip to cover the bases I wanted to cover this weekend, one of the things that she kept saying, you're getting behind, you need to be walking. And I'm like, okay, you want me to get up out of the van and walk back and forth in the van, lady? Because I'm like, how do these things not know that you're sitting on a trip? Because they kind of almost punish you and make you feel guilty that you're sitting down.
You don't need that. All you need is a mirror.
That's right.
That's all you need is a mirror.
You're right.
That'll motivate
Think
you.
of the money you could save people if they would just say, hey, do I need to be walking? Oh, yeah, you need to be walking.
And everybody's got a mirror. Just use it. That'll save you a
right.
ton of money.
That's right. Now, where's the next concert you're going to? Who's the next one?
I'm singing. Oh, are you talking about not me? I am singing this coming Sunday though at Mount View. I'm doing 2 or 3 songs down
At
there.
Whitestone?
At Whitestone.
Yeah.
We're going to the Happy Together tour on June the 6th up at Hiawassee. A lot of 60s oldies groups.
That'll be cool.
It'll be good.
That'll be cool. Now, in all
Gary
honesty,
Puckett and Union Gap.
Gary Puckett and Union, young girl, get out of my mind. What's the other line? Let's see.
Better run, girl.
Yeah, golly.
You're
I
much
can
too
hear it
young,
in
girl.
my head. You're much too young. That's right. I can hear it in my head.
He was a good singer.
It's crazy, but we grew up with the best music.
And the Cow Seals will be there, and the Turtles, and Jay and the Americans, and the Vogues. It's going to be good.
It's
And
gonna
Little
be good.
Anthony and the Imperials.
Oh, I love his music. Love that music. So if you don't have tickets, call the Georgia Mountain Fair. And if you haven't watched the special that we're doing it in little excerpts, give you a little of it, and then a little bit more of it, and a little bit more of it. And today I brought in the Connie Smith interview that we're going to post on YouTube. And interviewing Connie Smith was very interesting to me because she is very proudly Mrs. Marty Stewart. And he tells the story that when he was a kid, 5 years old, and he sees her, he says, I'm going to marry her when I grow up. And he did.
Is that his real hair?
Yeah, it is. It is. But you talk about a happy life. And she said, we are just thrilled to be together all these years later. And I think they've been married 20-something. And
Wow.
yeah.
That's unusual for celebrities.
For celebrities, they usually don't make it, but they did. Well, thank you for being here today.
Surprise, surprise.
Pleasant surprise to have Bill Siniard with us. So
Well, it's raining. I couldn't work. So
that's right. So this is work. This is not work.
This
This is
isn't
fun.
work.
This is fun. Thank you all for being with us, and please check out our YouTube channels. All you have to do is hit subscribe. No cost to YouTube. You just hit subscribe, and then anytime we load anything, Tracy's loading tons of stuff for you that you'll see yourselves on. It will give you a little, if you want to hear the ding and know that you have something on there new, check it out. You will see some years ago when I had black hair, and it was real black hair.
And I had
and
more
you
hair.
had hair.
More hair.
So,
Yeah.
so that's right. So check it out. And don't forget to
It's just
please
hair.
add Hans to your prayer list. Thank you for praying for him all the years you have, and thank you for loving him, because he was ETC's golden child in the year, and then he almost died on us, and he's still fighting to live, and we want him to live. So we're going to leave you now where rivers, mountains, and good friends meet. Right there,
That's
Bill
right.
Siniard. See you again soon. Bye, y'all.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time. And delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
Elmer loves to giggle. Elmer's mommy taught him that laughing can help when you have a big feeling, like when you feel happy. Make sure to celebrate when you're happy and laugh it out. Love your mind.
Welcome to our ETC Game of the Week. From McDaniel. That one is poked out in the eye.
Oh, that one hits him in the head.
From Crisp. That one.
3-2. Good lick.
See us anytime you can.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.